The DNA report didn't arrive with drama. No sirens, no music. Just a quiet email notification on a Tuesday afternoon. I opened it expecting confirmation, closure, relief. Instead, I felt my chest hollow out as I read the words again and again, hoping they'd rearrange themselves into something else. Probability of paternity, 0%. For all 3 children. I sat there a long time, staring at the screen while the house buzzed with ordinary life. Cartoons in the living room, my wife clattering dishes in the kitchen, calling out reminders about homework and dinner plans. A normal family, built on a lie. I didn't confront her that day, or the next. Shock has a way of slowing time, stretching moments until you're not sure what's real anymore. I replayed years in my head. Birthdays, first steps, school pickups, scraped knees I kissed better. I love those kids. That never changed. But love doesn't erase betrayal. When I finally asked her to sit down, my voice didn't shake. That scared her more than yelling would have. I placed the printed report on the table between us. She didn't even pretend to read it. She just cried. Confessions poured out in pieces, an old affair, then another, then a truth so tangled it barely resembled the marriage I thought I had. She said she didn't know who the fathers were. She said she was afraid I'd leave. She said she thought once I loved the kids, biology wouldn't matter. She was right about one thing. I did love them. But she had stolen my right to choose. I didn't scream. I didn't call her names. I asked her one question. How long were you going to let me live a lie? She couldn't answer. That night I slept on the couch, staring at the ceiling while the weight of years pressed down on me. By morning, something inside me had hardened. Not into cruelty, but into clarity. I called a lawyer. The advice was blunt, painful, necessary. Legally, the house was mine. The accounts were mine. The responsibility for children who weren't biologically or legally mine was limited, because deception mattered. So I prepared. I gave her notice. Formal, documented, calm. I arranged temporary support resources for the children through social services and reached out to her family, telling them the truth before she could twist it. Then I sat the kids down. That was the hardest part. I didn't tell them about DNA. I didn't burden them with adult failures. I told them I loved them, that none of this was their fault, and that they were going to stay with their mother for a while. They cried. I cried after they couldn't see me anymore. The eviction wasn't loud. No police, no shouting. Just boxes, silence, and a woman realizing that the safety net she'd assumed was permanent was built on lies. She accused me of revenge, of punishing innocent children, of being heartless. I told her the truth. I'm not taking revenge on them. I'm ending a lie you chose to live in. The day they left, the house felt haunted. Too big, too quiet. Toys abandoned like ghosts of a life that never really existed the way I believed it did. Weeks passed. People took sides. Some couldn't understand how I could walk away. Others finally saw the manipulation for what it was. I stopped explaining myself. The affair partners never stepped up. Not one. The men who helped create the lie disappeared when responsibility showed up. That part still makes me sick. Months later, she called me late one night. Her voice was small, tired, stripped of entitlement. They ask about you, she said. They miss you. I closed my eyes. I miss them too, I said. But missing them doesn't mean going back to being used. She asked if I hated her. I didn't. Hate requires energy I didn't have anymore. What I felt was grief, for the life I thought I had, for the years I'd never get back, for the truth that arrived too late to fix anything. I'm rebuilding now. Slowly. Quietly. Therapy. Work. Long walks where I relearn how to breathe without feeling like the ground might vanish. Sometimes I hear people say blood doesn't matter, that love is enough. Love is enough. When it's chosen honestly. What she did wasn't love. It was theft. Of trust. Of consent. Of my life. I didn't evict children. I evicted a lie that had lived rent-free in my home for years. And if that makes me the villain in someone else's story, I can live with that. Because for the first time in a long time, the story I'm living is finally true.